Adolescence is a stage of human development that coincides with puberty, a biological development occurring at the average age of 11 for girls and 12 for boys. There are factors, however, contribute to early puberty and delayed puberty. These factors include heredity, diet, exercise, and social environmental influence. Early and late maturation in adolescence accompany the cognitive and social emotional development of adolescents. Adolescence is a period of transition in terms of physical, cognitive, and social emotional changes. Early adolescence, characterized by puberty, may come at the ages of 11 and 12 years old. Middle adolescence may meet identity comes with the ages of 14 and 16. Late adolescence marked the transition into adulthood at ages 17 and 20. Physical development in adolescence, marking the major transition manifested by changes in first, physical appearance, second, rapid rate of growth, third, resultant feeling of awkwardness and unfamiliarity with bodily changes, and lastly, the alteration in sleeping habits and parent-adolescent relationship, possibly accompanying puberty. Puberty changes hormone flooding during adolescence causes an acceleration known as growth spurts. Growth spurts include the change in body dimensions, leg length, shoulder width, and trunk length. In girls, the growth spurts generally begin at age 10, reaching its peak at age 11 and a half, while slow continual growth continues and for several more years. For boys, growth spurts begin at age of 12, reaching a peak at age of 14 and declining at age of 15 and a half, while slow continual growth continues and for several more years. Among girls, 98% of adult height can generally reach at age of 16, while boys do at age of 17. The muscles also grow in terms of size and strength. Similar growth spurts occur for weight, muscle size, head and face maturation, and the reproductive organs. Factors affecting development. The series of hormonal changes accompanying complex of puberty. Hormones in powerful and highly specialized chemical substances that interact with bodily cells. Hormonal changes in the hypothalamus and pituitary glands signal the entire process of sexual maturation. The secular trend is a phenomenon of more rapid physical maturation during this century. Today, boys reach the maximum height at age of 18 to 20 and 13 to 14 for girls. But adult height 100 years ago was at 23 to 25 for boys and 19 to 20 for girls. The secular trend is ascribed to varied factors, such as interaction of genetic and environmental influences, improved healthcare and living conditions.
Sexual identity. Adolescents are concerned about their body image, sexual attractiveness. Most adolescents manage to develop a mature sexual identity, but a number go through it with much confusion. Adolescence is a period when most gay or lesbians and transgenders begin to recognize and make sense of their feelings. Development analyst Freud then proposed a model for the development of homosexual identity. Number 1. Sensitization, marked by child's becoming aware of same-sex attractions. Number 2. Identity confusion, when the youth is overwhelmed with feelings of inner turmoil regarding sexual orientation. Number 3. Identity assumption, when adolescents come out of the family and assumes a self-definition as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. And number 4. Commitment, when the young adult adopts a sexual identity as a lifestyle. Coming to terms with a positive LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Identity is usually difficult for a variety of reasons, including family, race, and religious cultures. Brings to the homosexual adolescent a real amid a heteronormal normative environment and LGBTs may suffer ostracism, hurtful jokes, and even violence. Self-esteem. A major aspect of identity formation during period of adolescence is self-esteem. Self-esteem is defined as one's self-concept and identity. Baseline self-esteem is stable across adolescence. Girls enjoy self-esteem through supportive relationship with friends and others who can provide social and parental support. In contrast, boys are more prone to assert independence is defining the relationships, deriving self-esteem from their ability successfully influence others. Implications for child care, education, and parenting. To meet the physical development of adolescent children, parents need to be aware of manifestations of behavioral patterns that require closer communication, guidance, and support. For example, teen nowadays is especially addictive to modern gadgets for music, listening, video games, mobile phone communication, and social media posting. These activities cause shorter sleeping time that may contribute to increased levels of daytime drowsiness, sleeping problems, and depression. Body image and the adolescent. Confidence about body image is strong during the adolescent period. It is important that adolescents feel confident about how they look, but the physical features of the human body, facial looks, body size, color of skin, and etc. depend on genetic heritage which must be respected. However, there is more to body image than physical looks, how much and this concern good habits in relation to cleanliness and grooming, proper wearing of clothes according to current styles, erect body posture, eye contact while communicating, and decorum, good form and confidence and decency.
Adolescence is a time for rapid cognitive development at this stage of development. At this stage of development, there is a decrease in egocentric thoughts, while the individual's thinking takes more of an abstract form. This allows the individuals to think and reason in wider perspective. Behavioral studies also show the development of executive function comprised by cognitive functions that enable the control and coordination of thoughts and behavior. Therefore, a period of human development that has great influence on the individual's future life through character and personality formation. Similarly remarkable as the physical changes during adolescence are changes in thinking patterns. Brain development is the process of correlated temporal and parietal areas, technically known as myelination. This second development covers the brain system whose executive function related to attention, verbal fluency, language, and planning. The adolescent begins to acquire spatial awareness and formulate abstract or general ideas involving numbers, order, and cause-effect. All these changes propel the adolescent from the world of sensible and concrete thoughts to the world of the possible and universal ideas. For example, the general ideas about good, true, and beautiful. Piaget formula operational thinking. Piaget formulated the theory of formal operational thinking which demonstrates how the cognitive capacity of the adolescent allows her to go beyond the sensible and concrete in order to dwell on what is abstract. Formal operation thinking consists of three classifications. First is propositional thinking. It refers to making assertion outside visual evidence and stating what may be possible in things not to seen by the eyes. For example, whether an unseen object is red or green, big or small, flat or round. And second, relativistic thinking, making an opinion or facts involving one's own bias, prejudice, or distortion of facts which may be entered until right or wrong. For example, arguing for or against the superiority of the races, whether white, brown, yellow, or black. And lastly, is the real versus possible. Examining situation and exploring the possible in terms of situation or solution, like for example, possible success in implementing a student project or a school policy. For Piaget, scientific evidence shows that while adolescents may obtain the capacity for formal operational thinking, only experience and education will allow them to practice it. For example, the school math and scientific activities, such as performing physics types problems like balance scales, pendulums, projection of images and shadows, certainly help in actualizing formal operational thinking. The adolescent may further experience an increase in depth of thought. Thus, he or she is able to bring what is logically best for everyday life.
Overachievements. The case of overachievers is a reminder that the intelligence quotient, this is not the only determinant in school achievements. There are other factors such as motivation, interest, work habits, and personality development. Characteristic overachievers are positive self-value, self-esteem, confidence, optimism, openness to authority, responsive and expectation of parents and teachers, positive interpersonal relation, responsive and sensitive to feelings of others, less conflict on the issues of self-autonomy, feels freedom to make right choices, initiates and leads activities, academic orientation, the discipline, work habits, high motivation to discover and learn, interest in studies, values, and varied field of study, goal orientation, efficiency and energy in organizing, planning, setting target, prioritizing long-term goals over short-term rewards, and control over anxiety, well-composed and relaxed performance of organized tasks.
Adolescence, the period lasting from approximately age 11 to 21, covers many social and emotional changes. This transition between childhood and adulthood leads to rapidly changing behaviors, identity disturbances, and strong emotions. Although these characteristics can frustrate or confuse parents, they are developmentally normal and a natural part of adolescence growth. Examples: changing emotions. Adolescents can shift modes rapidly, vacillating between happiness and distress, and self-confidence and worry. Some of these moods changes stem from biological sources. Self-centered attitudes. It is often difficult for adolescents to look at circumstances from other people's perspectives. It is due in a part to their still developing brain structures. Thus, adolescents might come off as self-centered and focus on their own needs without considering how those needs affect others. The adolescent and social media. What does it mean to be an adolescent growing up in a world saturated with social media? Online exchanges can also help foster individual identity and creativity on building on social skills. Teens have the opportunity to learn from each other by broadening online connections. Teens have a chance to learn about differences. These types of communication enhance respect, tolerance, and access to a broader understanding of different social and cultural backgrounds.